day today, folks. It's February 3rd, 1870, and Congress has been in session all day long, fighting and wobbling, but it was a progressive day in that Amendment 15 of the United States Constitution was just ratified. And Amendment 15, Section 1 states, "The rights of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous conditions of servitude." Now I had to ask myself, why in the world will they have to put in previous conditions of servitude? You'll remember back in 1865, just 5 years ago, Amendment 13 was passed, where it said neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, where a party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Today, you'll probably realize that most of our forefathers were accused of felonies by King George, and it was necessary to put this amendment in there that our forefathers wouldn't have been accused, and rightly so, of some kind of crime or felony. You can see how easy it would be to frame somebody, and by that framing of a crime on some person, that they would be ruined for life. They'd have the big felony put on their name. So our forefathers were consistent enough to realize that men had tendencies to do evil, and our government was a free government, and the minds of evil men wanted to destroy that government, and they could see a little sliver of possibility that perhaps they could frame George Washington into a crime. And by that, they could eliminate him for his whole life in public service, forever serving the United States. It would be easy, a lot easier to control the whole government of the United States. So our fathers were very wise men in putting the previous conditions of servitude, race, color, would not be any reason to abridge or deny a citizen's right to vote. Now, many of you know that I've been incarcerated for 8 years before, and a lot of you don't know what the particulars of that crime were. It was standing behind the pulpit. I have to ask myself, what in the world could a preacher say behind a pulpit today? How much time did he do in prison? Oh yeah, that's right, not a single day. Well, yes, that's because this is America. All throughout biblical history, there's accounts of people falling away from the Lord, and the Lord sending a messenger and trying to get the people back on track. And the LDS people, celestial laws are the highest laws that are men can be accountable to, and those are the laws that we're supposed to be standing up for. When I got up and said, hey, we ought to stand up for some celestial laws, and people thought that I was trying to hurt President Hunter, that just wasn't the case. And I didn't cause any bodily harm, didn't destroy any property. I was simply giving a message, and that in America, behind a pulpit, is a really, really tough thing to go to prison for. 8 years. Now we see in a lot of biblical times people were angry at those prophets that said that they were living wickedly, that they needed to repent. But this is a tough message, but it's also a message of love. I mean, if you've got someone who's concerned, a father who's concerned about his child? Are you going to put him in prison and the child's running out the road? The father said, "Stop! Stop!" You know, that's what religion is all about. You know, we go to church not to be stroked all the time and get good little messages. Oh, you're doing so good. You know, sometimes we need to be woke up. And I'm certainly waking people up, but I didn't need to go to prison for that. But I'll tell you one thing, the constitutional rights that were deprived of me during that process that I've never been through before were enough to scare me to death. And that's why when I got out of prison, boy, I'll tell you, I was running for Congress, I was running for Senate, I was doing everything I could because I was very fearful that you may suffer the same deprivations of constitutional rights that I did. And that's scary when you get in that system. When you want those rights and you don't have them, boy, I tell you, that's why you got to send me in. Because I know what it's like to not have those constitutional rights afforded to you. Rights of evidence. Rights to free speech. Those type of things need to be. I cared a lot more when I came out of prison than what I did when I first went in. About people and what happens to people and injustices and justice all around. I mean, we all would like justice, but we understand that it has to be carried out. We like to have it sometimes when it's on your side. At the same token, we need mercy. You know, there's got to be a little mercy there. The laws of justice have to be fulfilled, but mercy can come in also. And you know, I think our Constitution is very forgiving, and there's a lot of forgiving qualities about that. Anyway, go out and get a copy of my book if you're really interested. You know, if you're not interested, you don't care. You don't care about people. You really don't care. You know, just think to yourself, one of these days, if something like that ever happens to you, you want justice and it's not around. And you could ask yourself, well, maybe this is happening to me for a reason. You know, if you've done something like that to somebody, if you haven't stood up for somebody else's rights, why should somebody stand up for your rights? Right now, I'm standing up for your rights. And I'd like you to stand up for my rights. That's what America's all about.